Hey, how's it going, everybody? The roster lock has officially come to a conclusion. The trade window ended on the 24th, yesterday, late last night, which means that RLCS teams have to be solidified and signed up for. Some of these have been showcased on start.gg and other places. Some have announced it publicly, but there is no real requirement that the organizations have to publicly announce that these rosters have been finalized, which is usually what I go off of. I wait to see the finalizations from these organizations when they put out posts for the players themselves. With that in mind, we will find these out very soon. With the trade window and stuff coming to a close, it means that the season's about to start up again. Spring split for NA, the open qualifiers go on this Friday, with the official stuff starting on the 5th, and EU will be the weekend after that on the 12th. So that said, we're going to go through the roster changes really quick. I'm going to pull up my roster document just to make it really easy and kind of follow along. These are organized in order of their overall rankings. So we're going to start with Gen G and work our way down for North America and talk about all the changes there. And then we're going to do the same thing for Europe. I'm going to go really quick, nice and easy. Kind of one take this, make it as candid as possible, make it nice and simple. But first things first, we're going to start with Gen G, staying the same. That applies to FaZe Clan, G2, and Complexity. Your top 4 at NA staying the exact same. No changes expected there, which makes sense. Obviously trying to make the final push to the final split and into Worlds. We then get to V1 and Space Station. Version 1, Torment has retired, and Daniel is coming over from Space Station, as you all know. And Daniel, obviously, with him going to V1, leaves the open spot on Space Station, where they're pulling Hoxer from Ghost. As for Dignitas and NRG, we don't exactly know. They haven't said anything publicly. There is a chance that things could change, but as of right now, they're staying the same as far as I know. That also applies to Optic, Furia, and Shopify, all staying the same as well. The next one, which is pretty complicated, ends up going into the former Pittsburgh Knights, now Koi roster, and what was Koi, which is now G League. I have a really awesome MS Paint document to show you guys what happened. For those that are unfamiliar, there is what is referred to as a 3/4 rule in the RLCS, which means that as long as you keep 2/3 of your starting roster plus sub and or coach, you retain your RLCS points. So what was Koi is Gyro, Knight, and Aqua with Corrupted G as their coach, and the Pittsburgh Knights was Sosa, Cheese, and Zanil with McLando as their coach. As long as 2/3 of these stay the same, the points are associated to the players, not the organization. So Sosa and Cheese with Gyro went and formed Koi. Basically, Gyro and Corrupted G, their coach, ended up keeping the Koi branding and organization and joined with these two. So you're getting Gyro, Sosa, and Cheese as the former Pittsburgh Knights team with one roster change, getting 26 points. And then for G League, which was the Knights, is now Orgless, and it is still 2/3 former Koi team, Knight and Aqua, with Zanil. The only thing out of that doesn't have any home is McLando, their former coach, which is big sad. So Lando gets wrecked. Gyro and Corrupted G get an additional 6 RLCS points and get to keep their branding, bringing in Sosa and Cheese. And then Knight and Aqua lose 6 points, but they bring in Zanil for their roster change. That's what's going on with Koi and G League, which was Koi / Pittsburgh Knights. Kind of weird situation there. Up next, you've got Team Axel, and Axel has now changed as well. M80 has also stayed the same, no differences with them. Team Axel did end up getting rid of Ajax because Ajax ended up going to SUP, which we'll talk about in just a second here, as you can see right below, because he had to replace Hoxer. And then Axel has Taroko joining from what was Boulevard. So that's those. And then the last but not least is a crew. And a crew staying the same. There's more teams as well in North America that'll be signups and open qualifier stuff, but we'll add those in the future. Again, I'll leave a link to this document down below to make it easy. Europe was pretty chaotic during the split and during the trade window, so bear with me on these. Some staying the same. K-Corp staying the same. Team Liquid staying the same. There was a bit of a scare at one point where it was potentially a Chronic or a Tau being replaced. I think a Tau ended up putting out the I'm not leaving meme and video from Wolf of Wall Street, so looks like Team Liquid is still staying the same and building upon what they have. As for Oxygen, Rise is no longer with Oxygen. They have brought in Ixo from Quadrant. Billy also no longer with Oxygen. They're bringing in Snasky as well. So Ixo and Snasky being the coach of Quadrant, coming over to join Archie and Jorias. We'll talk about the other ones in a bit here. Moist is now taking some of that Quadrant roster as well. Astral is actually without a team. He's just not playing the rest of the season. He's getting the Oli treatment. He's sitting on the sidelines. He's got nothing, which is really sad to hear. We'll talk about free agents at the end of EU as well, of what potentials could happen. So Cash is coming in. They ended up just taking second place in the Odyssey Stars tournament or whatever it was called. They lost to Vitality. And Vitality now has Zen, who's coming off the bench now that he's unbanned. Sazen also not with the team. He put out a tweet and it translates to small conversion to content creator for the last split brothers. So looks like Sazen also doesn't have a team. And it looks like he's going to do content creation while he waits, which really stinks after his performance at the major and how well he did. So Moist is now Juicy Joyo and Cash holding down the back line. Vitality, like I mentioned, Zen instead of Sazen. Gamers first. This one hasn't been announced officially yet, but all the rumors are kind of leading to that. Mark by 8 is getting the bench. Don't know if he's going to go elsewhere, try to find a new team, or if he has already because rosters have to be locked. But they're bringing in Oli, who sat out for a split alongside Atomic and Dorito. Not confirmed. Kale was also part of that situation with Mark that might be leaving. And they might be bringing in Bran, I forget how to say his name, as their new coach / manager. We'll have to wait and see on that one. German Amigos staying the same. As for Team BDS, people wonder where Rise was going. Rise is going to be taking the place of Extra. Extra is going on the bench. Don't know if that has been made official. They are signed up for a tournament. I think the Gamers 8 qualifiers. So it does look likely, but yeah, Seiko, Monkey Moon, and Rise going to be that new BDS roster. Interesting to see Rise leave 2 major qualification teams to go bring back the former world champs, maybe. Wild stuff. Williams Resolve staying the exact same, and Monkeys, which was Sonics. We saw very early at the tail end of Regional 2/3 that Arju was let go. They bring in Raziers of Tundra. Tundra is completely disbanded, so all their players are going elsewhere. So Arju is released, and Raziers is going to be joining Monkeys. As for Solary, it looks like it is staying the same. I don't have it finalized yet. I know they were trying to do some transfers, but according to rumors and conversations, the transfer was actually blocked, to my knowledge. There was a lot of talks of how potentially Astral was going to go to Solary in place of Fairy Peak, and then Fairy Peak was going to end up retiring, but that doesn't look like it happened. As for Hibbs is coming over from Much Delight and is replacing Toxic. Still going to be with Mike Boy, and though Fruity did put out at one point that he is no longer with the roster, as well as their coach. As for Monaco Esports, who just played some crazy upset and ended up beating up K Corp in a recent tournament this past weekend, which was nuts to see. They ended up bringing in Dying, and VK Salen has gone to a different roster. For Fufadop, or however you say their name, Parka is out, Laza is in. Laza was also put out of that Much Delight roster previously as well. I should probably add that. As for Endpoint, staying the same. Guild also staying the same. SK Gaming, a completely different look. Scrubkilla no more. I don't think Scrubkilla has any options or anything like that. He's off doing his own thing. Maybe making content or otherwise. I've heard some interesting conversations, but not going to repeat those. And they have brought in Tekos. So congrats to Tekos coming in. Tekos was on Wild before. Let me add that as well. As for Quadrant's in a pretty interesting spot because they are changing their entire roster. They have forfeited all their RLCS points. They are now at 0 and starting from scratch, which horse apiece. I think they could have made a run potentially if they would have stayed together in the spring and then potentially some points there to get them to the World Championships through wildcard, but they completely chalked the entire team. Relating Wave right now is sitting on the bench. Don't know if he's got a new team. But they do bring in a new team with Charlie B, Temper, and Cassio, who used to be on Tundra. So completely different looking Quadrant roster. As for others, like I mentioned, Tundra, all players are LFT that have gone off and done their own thing. Much Delight, we don't know if they're going to come back together. Simas and stuff like that is the only one remaining, but I saw him trialing with some other players. Like I think he was playing with Speed at one point as he like subbed in for a tournament. But we then find out that there's a team called 2.5 Men signed up with Speed, Rizex, and Toxic. So that's what we've got. As for the actual like free agents and stuff, other than the like players I've benched and everything, you're talking there's a multitude of really talented players that are just kind of sitting and waiting that may like sign up last second. We've got Mark by 8, Astral, Relating Wave, Extra, Sizen. Like there's some good players out there that could maybe make a team. There was rumors of Astral and a couple others teaming up and it just didn't go well. So maybe that, I think it was marked by 8 Astral and Extra maybe, or Astral Extra and Sizen or something. But apparently it didn't go well. So there might be a last minute with some of those, but depending on contract situations, we'll have to wait and see. But that is what I have for your roster changes for this trade window. That's basically everybody. I'm sure there's some other ones potentially that we missed that haven't been made official or anything like that. But that's what we're looking at. Some pretty interesting looks, I would say, in the next coming weeks. So again, reiteration, we've got matches for North America starting on the 5th. And then the week after on the 12th, we will see Europe start. So if you guys do have any additional questions, comments, concerns, let me know down below. Link to this document. It is live updated. You can either stop by the stream, twitch.tv/Lawler, and type !RLCS rosters, or it will be in the description down below. Go click on it. It'll pop up. Stay up to date, and I'll do my best to update this as well. I'll make sure to update it as well when we see the matches go live for the first time, so we can fill in like different coaches and all that kind of stuff too. So with that said, it's going to do it for today's video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.